and he said, I'm in. Let's do this. This is exciting. This is something different than I've ever done before. And so, before we bring him out, let's take a look at a video, kind of a brief synopsis of this guy's amazing 45-year career. Take a look. Ladies and gentlemen, the one and only Academy Award winning, multiple Emmy Award winning Doug Drexler.
Wow! Well, I need a microphone.
So here, come on over. Maybe we should have a seat and let's kick a few things around.
Yeah.
So when you first heard about all
Hey,
this...
hold on a second.
Uh-oh.
I just got to say that all of, this Star Trek, and it's been amazing. But when I come here and I see the enthusiasm in this room, it is absolutely mind-blowing. And you people are what's really amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And these guys. Where were we?
Oh, I was just saying, so when you first heard about this, and, we were sitting here kind of grasping at straws, and we had ideas, David's vision, we shared it all with you. You have to start somewhere, and where'd you start? What'd you know we had to learn to start making decisions?
Well, I mean, first I had to get to know you two guys, and then I had to get to know the company and what it stood for and what it was about. And I realized that there was a shared DNA between LifeWave and Star Trek. A vision of the future, an optimistic future. And, I thought I was lucky in my career, and I really have been, but I didn't, meeting you guys was even more amazing.
Oh, come on. Oh, thank you.
It's true.
Thank you, Doug.
It's like Tony Stark here.
Exactly.
You're not insinuating I'm a superhero, are you?
Well, yeah, of
Because
course
that
I
would
am.
be...
He is a superhero. I mean,
with my laundry list of character defects, all the mistakes I've made, most of them largely public.
You don't get anywhere unless you make mistakes.
That's true.
Well, let's get into it. So first you had to throw us a few concepts, right?
Yes.
And you said literally like, hey, what about this? What about that? And he just started throwing us some concepts, right?
Yeah, I mean...
Do you want something like this, right?
Yeah, you just start throwing things out there and see what kind of reactions you're getting. And then you will put together some conceptual art, just like I would if I was on one of the shows, and gauge your guys' reactions to it.
Oh, this was a great one.
Well, Avengers headquarters, right?
Yep, that was a great one.
Avengers headquarters. You love that one, right, David?
I do love that one. I have a replica of it
So
in
do
my
I.
lab in Florida.
So after you'd done this for a little bit, we realized, well, start designing something, right? Let's get into it. And so you did these relatively detailed sketches before we hired set designers. So what do you call the fellows we brought in?
Once we knew what we were going to do, I brought in a couple of set designers
Right.
that I had worked with on the Orville, which is a Seth MacFarlane show. That's very much like Star Trek. These guys know how to do this stuff
Right.
better than anybody. They were perfect.
And when you heard about the epic hologram and the fact that David and the company was committed to having some fun with this ability to beam people in, and we told you about that, you had an idea and said, after we learned about the space we were going to go in, right? You said, well, where are we going to design this for? And then you said, I got an idea about a black monolith.
Well, it was just when I saw this, you guys introduced me to this.
Right.
I said, can we make it black? And you're like, well, of course we can. And I'm like, it made me think of 2001: A Space Odyssey with the monolith. And where the closer you get to the monolith, the smarter you become. And that's kind of what LifeWave is. And also that room with that white void and the black monolith in it, which is very much like the end of 2001 with astronaut Frank Poole. This room is a recreation of that in a way.
Yeah.
We have a lit floor and a lit ceiling, and also it's a transition into another world. You don't want to just walk from the lobby into a bunch of displays. You want to be brought into another reality.
Right. You kind of have to work your way into stepping into the future, don't you?
Yeah. I mean, well, and we did a bunch of, I did a bunch of conceptual images, which you might say were a false start, but there's no such thing as a false start.
Well, look at, so here, let me run you through a few. These are just going to kind of cycle through a few of these things. As you started to say, what about this? Should we have a circular area? What would be the nature of the door, right? Right? You started asking questions and showing us things, didn't you?
Yep. And,
Yeah, this part was incredible because if we go back
well,
one
that's
slide.
very early.
It's
That's
a movie,
very
David.
early,
We
that.
can't go back. But
yeah,
it'll-
that's
but
true.
it'll cycle through.
That's
it'll
true.
cycle through.
Yeah, so when we started to seeing this artwork, we were so close to what we thought the representation of the Welcome Center should be. This was the imagery when I first looked at it. I said, oh my God, we're so in the ballpark
Right.
now on this.
And but then you're thinking about, no, wait a second, these are the coolest looking designs, and me, from my vantage point, I'm thinking, how in the world are we going to make something that looks just like this, right? And going through that process, but you're the designer, you can envision and say, well, yeah, no, we can make it look just like that, right?
Absolutely. Well, I mean, my job on Star Trek or Battlestar Galactica or the Orville is to come up with designs that we can build,
Right, exactly.
So I'm always, whatever I'm designing, I try to keep it practical. Of course, I know that you guys had a lot of experience with big screens and backlights and,
Right.
media stuff like this.
And you combined stuff, didn't you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because the content, David, right, had to get up on some screens, and that's where David decided to commit to state-of-the-art capabilities on the part of the screens that we installed. I'm not going to tell you how much they cost, but they cost an arm and a leg, and so your experience when you go through the Welcome Center, you're looking almost as if you're looking at reality. The images are so pristine and clear.
Yeah, and it's always going to come back to the story, right? So it's a blend of, can we tell the story of LifeWave? We use the hologram as an opportunity to welcome people from all over the world in different languages, take them into the tunnel so they can see where LifeWave has been, let them interact with the Welcome Center so they can explore our business opportunity, our products, our culture, and then we give them a look at what's coming into the future.
Exactly. And then, if I'm not mistaken, what comes up next is the concept of we had to build it, right? And we did that in Hollywood. Think about it. All the set designers and all the set construction folks that Doug knows, We pulled that team together and we made it all down in Hollywood. And then once finished, once we knew everything fit together, once we knew the measurements and everything was going to work, we threw it in trucks and brought it up to Draper, Utah, where it had to be most of it hoisted by a crane, take out windows, go inside, drop it in, and then start to construct it. But this whole construction process, you're very familiar with that, aren't you?
Well, yeah, I mean, the beauty of it was that we did it in the San Fernando Valley, which
Yep.
is just minutes from where I live, so I could go to the seam dock and see what these guys were doing every day and go there with my set designers.
Yeah.
And we can interact, which is what's happening in these pictures here.
You had to verify, right?
Yeah.
You had to look at the materials.
Well, you could have amazing designs that look fantastic, but it could all fall flat in the creation of it, in the physical creation of it. And you never know what's going to happen, but all I can tell you is that the way it all came together and everybody who was involved with it all the way along was excited about it. And it became, well, actually, it turned out better than I thought it would turn
Really?
out. Yeah, it was really more amazing than I expected it to be.
Think about that.
Yeah, and I have to say, because we were involved, Jim and I, in the design process, through the beginning, so we saw you breathe life
Yeah.
into this concept. But even though we were along for the journey the entire way, walking through it for the first time was surreal. I honestly felt like I was in a ship in outer space. And I was like, oh my God, I literally have stepped into
Well,
the future
the first
now.
thing after we went through it the first time, it wasn't complete yet. And I remember I looked at you and I said, well, David got a starship. But honestly, if you don't have the right group of people together, and I mean it's particularly these two guys, there's another place it could totally fall flat. And when we first met, we were kindred spirits right away.
Absolutely. Oh, I should mention that because you're way too humble of a guy, even though you've had these absolutely incredible achievements in your life. But I want to know, this man has an incredible heart. As much time as we spent talking about Star Trek, we also spent talking about God and faith
Yeah.
and the stories in the Bible. I loved doing that with you, Doug. It was just so great to see that
Yeah,
side
we
of
had
you.
a conversation going back and forth in emails and.
And, I want you to share something that you shared when you were here last year, and that is you had so many obstacles in your life. Your parents didn't want you going in
Well, they
this
thought I was
direction.
crazy.
And look what happened to you.
Yeah.
They thought I was out of my mind. I mean, and you have to consider that when I was really first getting into this type of thing when I was 11, 12 years old, it wasn't considered hip or cool or even smart. Now it's a whole different story.
Isn't it interesting what a parallel? There's always parallels to the network marketing business, right? Where people say, you can't do it, you're not going to be successful. I've never heard of that company. All those things we've talked about over the last couple of days, the negativity, you experienced it too,
Yeah,
and you pushed through
have
it.
to take that negativity and turn it into energy
Yeah.
to drive you where it is you want to go. Too often people are criticized and talked down to and they give up. You can't do that. You have to take that energy. Take it. They don't realize that they're giving you energy to create and reach your goal and your dream.
It almost comes a little bit like, I'll show them. Who are they? If someone else can be hugely successful, so can I, and boom, off you went, huh?
Yeah.
And meanwhile, while there were people in his life saying, no, you can't do this, you can't achieve it, you ended up working with Gene Roddenberry.
Well, that's just like totally nuts. That as a kid, I was watching when Star Trek premiered in 1966. I was one of the original fans, and when they canceled it after three seasons, I was part of this Save Star Trek committee that kept the show going. And then when I ended up coming to Hollywood to work on a Warren Beatty picture called Dick Tracy, where we did all the makeups in there. But I knew that Star Trek The Next Generation was shooting across town. And as soon as Dick Tracy was done, I went over there and I begged Mike West, because I was a makeup artist at the time, I begged him to let me come and work on the show. And he says, well, what, you're doing features. Why do you Star Trek was where I'm supposed to be. And it's not just because it's, cool, flashy science fiction. It's the philosophy of a better tomorrow, you know.
Exactly. Right.
That's
David?
what got me so hooked
Yeah.
on Star Trek from when I was very young. I saw the first episode of Star Trek that I saw was Arena, and this idea. Well, wait a minute, Captain Kirk didn't kill the Gorn, and he's trying to
No, I
reach
won't
some
kill
type
him.
of peace with these aliens. But the
Yeah.
idea that we could have a future,
Yeah.
we're not at war, we're not trying to kill one another, we're working together for the common good. We've used technology to feed people. Energy is abundant, and we're reaching out to other species.
And of course,
it's a beautiful view of the future.
meeting David, he reflected that philosophy that excited me so much. So I was so excited to come and do this. And wow, thank you, because it turned out amazing. I hope you guys get to go see it.
Well, before we talk about that, and before we kind of show you a 3 or 4 minute teaser film of the Welcome Center that we're talking about, I think we have some time lapse footage that we should show now that features kind of several areas of the Welcome Center and how they kind of came together over a period of 2 or 3 months. Can we roll that now? Yeah, we can see it down here.
Awesome.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
These screens in this large, long room, what a work of art,
A lot of decisions.
right? Doug had his print on every aspect of what you're seeing here. Colors, texture, surfaces, the look, the feel, the screens, all of it. And there was the finished product, right? So then we had to make this area we call a product kiosk area, where we focus on products. It's interactive. And that's what it looks like now.
That was not computer art. That's the actual picture.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what blew my mind. The reality of it
Yeah.
was so much like conceptual art, and even better in so many ways.
That's what's hard to believe when you look at the pictures of it, because you think you're looking at computer-generated images, but this is all
Yeah,
real.
it looks like my art.
So
Crazy.
when David first talked about stepping into the future, Jim, let's make something that makes people feel like they're stepping into the future. Doug, did we accomplish the goal?
Heck yes. It's absolutely amazing. Even I, who have spent so much time on so many starships or battle stars, or to go and see this was even more amazing.
Think about that. Coming from him saying that, so you're going to want to make plans, and we're going to share with you exactly how do you book the ability to get out there and take a tour and bring some prospects and see what this is all about. We'll share that with you in a minute. But I think it's time to let people have a peek at what this overall experience is like. You ready for that?
I think they want.
Would you like to see that? All right, let's roll it. Lights down.
Hey, let's go.
Well, hi there, and welcome to LifeWave's global headquarters. 世界中の何百万もの人々にとってライフウェブは希望を象徴し、真実の光の灯台を象徴しています。
It's one of those things where you have to be there to understand the magnitude of what you experience when you walk in.
It literally is giving me goosebumps.
Like, it's just mesmerizing.
say is, wow.
You felt like you were on a journey in outer space. Just simply amazing.
Anybody else? Yeah, sure.
What an incredible, breathtaking experience.
I cannot believe what I saw, but I saw it.
Whoever you bring here, they will be sold.
The genius and the vision and the work that went into this was absolutely amazing.
It's just honestly mind-blowing to see the technology, the evolution of this company.
The sky's the limit. That's all I can say.
I'm just speechless. It was so beautiful. I don't even know what to say.
This is the most exciting, jaw-dropping presentation I've ever experienced.
Ladies and gentlemen, Doug Drexler and David Schmidt. Yeah.
Doug, thank you so much.
What an honor.
Well done, sir. Unbelievable.
And I got great friends out of it, too.
So I'm going to bring up. Thank you, God. Congratulations. What a treat. What a treat.